Welcome to Books We've Never Read.
Except for those we have.
I'm Jason.
And I'm Nicole, and this is episode 11. And it includes it talks about the 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, chapters 1 through 23. So if you're here, we're happy to have you here, and make sure that this is the video that you really want it to be, and not what I was about to just by default talk about, and that was what we've been reading for the past 10 episodes, and that's the 3-body problem, which is playlisted for you.
Yep. So to be clear, this is the first episode of our reading of the 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. If you haven't watched our syllabus episode, I suggest that you go back and do that. It will break down for you all the different parts that we're going to read, but that is also in the comments below.
Yeah. So just make sure that this is what you're wanting to be part of, because we do spoil things as we go. Like and subscribe, and please share your comments and your ideas on the discussion below, because there's going to be all kinds of stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
This book is crazy.
I'm really excited about doing this because this is only, in my mind, the second book that we've read. Because the other 3 books that we read were really all one big thing.
One big series.
And what's really cool is that we're still getting new people joining us, and so that makes me really happy, because that is the point of doing all this. We hope that you share this channel with your friends, and these books more than anything with your friends, so you have somebody else to talk with with it. We are discussing creating a Reddit page where people can talk to each other about these things, just because we recognize that YouTube's comment section is not always the easiest place to do that, and so that may be coming in the next couple weeks. We'll see.
If you have any recommendations for what our next book is going to be, please drop those in the comments below. We're always adding to the list, and we're only our first episode into this new book, but it's time for us to figure out what the next book is going to be.
Yeah, there's only 2 more weeks left on this book.
Yeah.
So we're a third of the way there.
It's going to feel way fast compared to 3-body problem.
Yeah. Well, I'll be honest, it's fast anyway. It's a fast book.
Yeah, so it sounded horrible, right? When I was like, okay, you got to read chapters 1 through 23. Gone like that.
Bang.
It goes so fast.
Yeah. It's a very quick book. This is so different from what we were reading. There's still like a mystery aspect to it. 3-body had that, I think. I forgot that our protagonist was going to swap bodies, even though that's why I picked this book. I forgot. And so whenever it happened, like 5 chapters in, I was like, whoa! But it's, but like, how clever, right? It's such a very cool mechanic for telling the story.
So what surprised me, because I had remembered that he would be switching bodies, I thought he would know who he was. I thought that this was going to be some kind of supernatural situation where he's able to enter the bodies of others in order to solve crime or something like that.
Yeah.
I thought that was the case, instead of what appears to be some sort of purgatory.
Yeah, I really don't know.
That has 3 other people or 2 other people?
It's 2 others. So look, all we know about
Anna
and
the Watchman.
and the footman. Yeah.
Footman.
Yeah.
Watchman.
All we know about our protagonist is that we think his name is Aiden Bishop.
We think his name is Aiden
That's
Bishop.
it.
And we know that from Anna.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that from also the Plague Doctor.
Yes.
In chapter 23, he confirmed that. He said the only of the competitors who is here by choice is Aiden Bishop.
Right.
And he said it with like a sound of regret.
Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to learning more about him as we go. Whenever the Plague Doctor said that he was the only person here by choice, I really took it to mean that he was the only person at the house by choice. I have this thought that like the house is real. Like, not that this entire world is not real, but that Aiden chose to come here for some reason. I don't know why I think that. I just do. But this is really turning out to be what is that movie I like with Ethan Hawke in it? Did you think about that? Yeah.
Well, once it came up that like Daniel said, "Well, I'm you. We're the same soul,"
Mm-hmm.
which I don't know that I believe him, and I'll explain why in a minute. But yes, I was like, well, this is just a time loop issue when we're watching Dark all over again.
Dark. Okay, so the movie I'm thinking of is called Predestination, with
Yeah.
Ethan Hawke.
It was good.
And there are some similar elements to this, and I am really excited about finding out who all else Aiden has been, because when he is the first guy, when he is Sebastian Bell, he runs into Daniel. Daniel does not tell him that he is himself. That they're both Aiden. We don't find that until
Daniel
later.
wasn't Aiden on day 1. He was Aiden
had to be
on day 8.
Yes, yeah, but the point is that it's always the same day, and so Aiden woke up as Daniel on the day. And so there is no scenario where we meet Daniel where he's not Aiden. So even though we're calling it days 1 through 8, think of there as also being a day. Let's call it A. All days 1 through 8 are day A. It is the same day over and over and over and over and over again. And so he is Daniel all day long, and he is the butler all day long, and he is Bell all day long.
That is not how I see it happening.
Okay.
Well, because even like Anna at some point says, like, I can't keep up with who you are at what time. So he's not all the people all the times.
Okay. I think he is.
Okay.
He is the butler waking up in the morning, right? And he is Sebastian waking up in the morning, like out in the woods, right?
I think that the day is starting over and he is in a new host. But I don't think, and I think he can see the original person playing out all those parts as they did, but he's not still in there. It wasn't him.
But Daniel and Ravencroft, or whatever his name is,
Ravencourt,
talk to each other. And they're both Aiden.
So Daniel says, right? So, okay, the plague doctor says, if you don't finish this, if you don't figure this out within the 8th day, then you have to start over again.
Correct.
Why would it run concurrently? Why would he already have started over again?
We are led to believe by the plague doctor that this has happened a lot.
Sorry, but why would it run concurrently? Like, why wouldn't it finish out his 8th day as Daniel?
He does.
And then it's finished, and then he has to start over.
He does.
Sebastian. But why would there be Sebastian and Daniel all in one day?
Because there has to be. Because of a time loop.
But I don't see it. I just don't interpret it that it is that way.
Okay.
So far.
Okay.
But it would be easy for Daniel, who is Daniel and has seen this day gone by from other perspectives 8 times. He knows that Ravencourt's going to be there.
Because he was Ravencourt. Because this day has already happened to him.
And something has already happened to him. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
But if they are in this, if Aiden is in all 8 of these people at all times,
yes,
then how is there any escape from it?
Well, once he finally solves it, right? So the Aiden of the last day,
Daniel,
maybe has to solve it, or so Daniel or whatever the last Aiden is has to solve this mystery, and then he's going to be released by the plague doctor. I have a suspicion, and I have no good evidence for this, that Aiden is also the plague doctor, and it is the final step.
I think that too.
Yeah.
But the plague doctor even said, if you take my mask off, it doesn't matter. You know as well as I do that our faces are masks too, but I'll just be replaced by another.
Right. But that is why I think it is Aiden, because Aiden doesn't have a face. He only has masks. Right. But I have no evidence for this, and the plague doctor definitely talks as if he is not Aiden. But it wouldn't shock me if that's like the final step that has to happen, because it has happened in the past. He must now do it again to like make the cycle complete, to complete the task or whatever. You know,
it's just Dark all over again.
Very similar. Go watch Dark. It's amazing.
So Sebastian Bell is the only one that we have a full day of, his day is completely finished, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Because he
But
passed out from the rabbit.
Yeah, but we should also consider Donald Davies' day done, I think is my understanding.
Okay. And I can't remember why is Donald Davies' day done?
Because he drove the car off down the road in the rain.
And now he's asleep.
He's asleep.
In the middle of the
and
road.
there's no and he's out of gas. And there's no way for him to get back in time.
Golly.
And so that day is gone.
So day 2 is over.
I think that's day 3. Yeah.
Wow.
And the masked man, the plague doctor tells him, like, this is always your most childish one, and now you've wasted it.
I really love Aiden's reactions to the new body that he is in each time.
Yeah.
He called Donald Davies, he's like moving around with these tiny feet, this peacock, because he like dresses, but he was in like orange pants, a green shirt, and a purple coat or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy. So, okay, day 3 is done.
I think, right? Like, it's functionally over.
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't surprise me if we go back to him because he still has, like, hours on the clock.
What a waste. Ugh.
But he's, like, stuck somewhere, so I don't know. There's so much going on, I don't even know where to, like, go.
Yeah, okay, so as we were going through our full first day with Sebastian Bell,
Let's do that.
You know, there were some questions that I had as I was going through it, and once I realized what was going on, and I did ask, who drops the compass in his pocket? Is it him as a later host?
Yes.
And yes, it is.
So Aiden on day 1 and Aiden on day 4. As we go through this, let's draw all the connections with where they meet each other. Right?
Jonathan Derby is day 5. He's the 5th host. That's
correct. Okay, yeah. So Aiden on day 1 and Aiden on day 5 run into each other at that point with the pocket watch. And Aiden on day 5 is the reason that the lady is running through the woods on day 1.
That was really
causing that whole situation and his panic to begin with.
And also, that guy, Jonathan Derby, is a real turd.
Mm-hmm. Well, it implies that he's a rapist.
Mm-hmm. But then I couldn't keep straight if he was accused of raping Madeline.
The night before.
So he has harassed her 2 days in a row now.
Well, yes.
Yeah, pre-Aiden, harassed him. Yeah. And Aiden processing that, like, rage and, like, adrenaline, like, that he enjoys that chase. Like, he's just so disgusted by that.
That is one of the most interesting things about this so far, is how he has kept some aspect of the personality of the person. And so, like, he hates Ravencourt because he is corpulent, right? Like, that is the word to describe him.
He's just so disgusted by himself. But he's the smartest. He's the cleverest of them so far. Well, and he hates Sebastian because he's a coward. And he just keeps watching.
A drug dealer.
And that disappointment.
Yeah. I really enjoy the fact that still happens, because I'm generally bothered by mind-body duality. I don't like it whenever people just say, well, we'll just transplant your mind and stick it in a new body. Like, there is no such thing as a mind apart from the body. It is all one thing. And so the fact that you are supplanting a mind and putting it into a body, and therefore it is affected by that body, I just think it's great.
Right. I mean, well, because there's no separation there. Let's see. And, you know, as we were reading him as Sebastian Bell, I was just like, this guy is just so British. Before I realized, like, no, he really is just coming to terms with the person that he is in, the host he is in. And so that kind of tickled me. And then I started wondering, okay, well, he's encountered all these people, so how many of these
it's hard to tell.
Other hosts?
Yeah. Do you have any guesses about who might be another host?
So we know of himself, who other people he's going to be.
Yeah, who do we think
the other
Aiden
competitors?
Will be? No. Well, but that's what's interesting, right? The other competitors we don't think are swapping bodies. Anna never changes bodies. Right. She is always Anna every day, and she doesn't remember the past iterations of day 1 through 8 or whatever, right? Neither does he.
Well, we know something's going on with Miss Derby.
Yeah.
He noticed that she was probably being a host.
Yeah, but she had also just been slapped by the time he talks to her.
By himself.
By himself on day 5, right? And so she's that's possible. My money is on Sebastian Gold, or not Sebastian.
Gregory Gold.
Gregory Gold. I think he's Gregory Gold, and I'm not sure why he beats the stew out of that guy.
Collins, yeah.
But I think that's definitely, there's too much going on there, right? There's too much.
Yeah. So, what's the voice that he's hearing?
I mean, it's the footman, I guess, right?
Why would he be hearing the footman?
But like the voice telling him like weird, scary things.
Yeah.
Because the footman, for whatever reason, wants to mess with him, right? So look. I mean, let's if we back up a second. Here we have this guy running around trying to solve this mystery. The mystery is that Evelyn Hardcastle is going to die at 11 p.m. at this ball. But like, so what, right? Like that is something that will happen, has happened, is happening, right? Like it is all these things. But then we have like this other thing about her brother Thomas back like 10 years ago, and now he died on the property, and the Carver guy killed him and all that, and all these people are somehow tied into that.
All these people were at
Right. And so somehow that murder strikes me as like the original sin, right? Like that, the story isn't really about Evelyn. I think the story is about that murder somehow. And, you know, at one point, Aiden asks, who brought me here? And the guy said, well, he's long gone. I think it's Thomas. I think somehow Thomas is like getting revenge or something, right? Like somehow this is about him. And we are slowly learning more, right? Like on the last day of this reading, on day 5, God, I can't remember the guy's name ever. Derby goes to the lake, right? And he goes to Carver's house and all that.
Yeah.
So somehow I think all that is.
Do you think that whoever kills Evelyn is the one who escaped that was also responsible for killing Thomas?
I don't know what to think about Evelyn because she shoots herself. And I have no idea what to think about that. I don't know. I don't know yet what it means for Evelyn to be murdered.
You know, it says that as she approaches the pool, she's like dragging herself, and it calls her like drunken.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so maybe she was poisoned or something.
Maybe she was being maybe she was a host and fighting it.
But so if she's a host, then she is Aiden.
Yeah.
On a future day. Maybe. Maybe. I had the same thought, but I don't know.
Well, we already know 6 of the hosts that he will be. We have Sebastian Bell.
Yep.
Collins. The butler. We have...
Ravencourt.
Hold on, I'm going in order. Donald Davies. Peacock. Then Ravencourt. Jonathan Derby. And then according to Daniel, he'll be Daniel on day 8.
That should be the number 6 though. Daniel should be number 6.
Right.
Yeah.
So we have 2 more.
We have 2 more, yeah.
So do you think Old Lady Derby?
I'm still sticking with Gregory Gold as a bet. I don't know. I don't know who the other one would be.
I don't know. So we've got Ravencourt's valet, Cunningham, who's afraid of what somebody who's already seen this day unfold might know.
Yeah.
And has some kind of scandal going on with the Hardcastles.
Yep. So he's out. It's not him.
Maybe.
The problem is like if he was Aiden, he would be Aiden on day 6 or 7, and so he wouldn't be shocked by anything because he would have already done it all as Ravencourt. Yeah.
Right.
So it can't be him.
Okay.
We don't have any interaction really with Gregory Gold yet, other than him beating the snot
Just
out
a
of the guy.
quick interaction in the hallway. Why was Anna's chess piece in the empty drug chest of Sebastian's?
Yeah.
And it had a... Oh, I said chess piece. Oh, yeah.
It's a chess piece.
Well,
So,
and then the note that he received had a castle on it, and it made me think of a rook.
yeah, so that just made me think of Evelyn Hardcastle, right? Like that's what
playing
made me think
chess.
of.
Yeah. There's a lot of chess in this book.
Yeah, I think what Anna is doing. That's actually a very interesting point. I'll have to think about that. I think that Anna's job is because I think that he is in existence in all hosts on the same day at all times. Anna's job is to aid, like, for whatever reason she aids them all, in doing different things. So we actually have Anna in the room when there are two Aidens in the room. She's in there when he comes in as which one was he that day? Maybe it was Donald Davies. No, not Donald Davies.
What happened? What was the scene?
One of the Aidens goes and visits the butler, who is like passed out on the.
And Anna's in there.
And Anna's in there. And so she is like running messages in between the two and helping to communicate. She is basically just another valet, right?
Valet, yeah.
Is it not valet?
It's British. It's a valet.
But we call it valet.
It's the people that park your car.
Yeah. That's what he is. He's valet. So I think that's basically what she is. But for some reason she is a cursed person as well.
Yeah. When Sebastian goes in there, she like eyes him.
Yeah. How is what she is dealing with realistically different from what the valet is dealing with? Because she only ever lives the one day and she doesn't remember it. That is likely true for all other characters in this book, right? Where they just
but why does she know that it's happening?
Well, because Aiden has told her, and she wakes up with the name Aiden in her head, right? So somehow they're tied together, even though her role is basically as just one of these other. Talking about it as chess pieces is actually really interesting. Like somehow, all these. I'm gonna call them non-player characters, right? Like somehow all these people are being manipulated and moved about, like on a chess piece. The target is the queen, Evelyn, and somehow we're trying to checkmate whoever the king is, who is whoever brought us here. And she is somebody who is not quite a pawn, but is something else.
Do you know what that also reminded me of? That what was that Stephen King series on Hulu that we like so much? Castle Rock.
Yeah, Castle Rock.
The episode where the old lady was flipping through time, but using the chess pieces to manage what timeline she was in.
Well, and so Anna does things like that.
Great show, by the way, and you should watch it.
Anna does several things like that. She leaves the chess piece. She leaves in the notes at the
in the library for Derby, for him to meet with Derby.
Yep, and she leaves a note in the stable house.
Oh yeah,
or whatever.
yeah. Your gloves are burning.
Yeah. And so she's not there to know that the gloves burn, right? So he tells her on a future day, one of these Aidens is going to tell Anna, and now I need you to go write a note that tells me my gloves are burning, because it happened to him already, and he needs everything to happen the way it did happen, so that, because if he changes anything, if he changed one thing, like butterfly effect, right? He would go out into the woods to try to catch somebody, but they wouldn't be there because there wasn't a spill on the floor or whatever, right?
But it is clear that he is able to change things. But the plague doctor warns him you should be careful which not to unpick.
Yeah.
You don't want to move the furniture just to burn the house down or something like that. Was a great line.
Well, but even then, it's one of these things where if he did change it now, it is also then changed for all of his future people. And so it's not a danger that he'll change it and then be able to, and then like mess up the plans of his future self, because his future self is taking into account the plans of his past self. The problem is, what if you change it in such a way that then you cannot do anything, right? For example, him running off into the woods as Donald Davies. That is likely a change, right? Like essentially, and now that day is gone for him, and he can't get it back.
The voice isn't always bad. There was the scary voice about, what was the scary thing the voice said that, like, went into the next chapter? But some of the voice things are not bad. It's just loud.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll meet soon, little rabbit. That was the scary voice.
Definitely sometimes Anna is talking to him, right? Like she pops in and says something or hands him something and gets out. But otherwise I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, so the only other person that I have like tons of note on is Lord Ravencourt. And his whole storyline is very funny. It's him battling with his body, trying to turn in the chair, but there's too much Ravencourt.
Yeah. I'm a sucker for like beautiful prose, and well, I would stop short perhaps of beautiful. I think that there's a lot of really clever things in here, especially in descriptions of characters. I think that's a lot of fun.
Yeah, Stuart Turton really throws in some good descriptions. What's the scandal Cunningham has with the Hardcastles? Oh, I want to know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Juicy. We know the footman has a broken nose, so we have not seen him.
Yeah,
we have not seen him yet.
Yeah, as best we can tell.
Unless we saw him before day 4.
Yeah. Well, so Ravencourt is actually really interesting because we get several big twists there that future Aiden does not tell past Aiden. Like, hey, by the way, Ravencourt is engaged to Evelyn Hardcastle.
Oh, right? Yeah.
And so part of the issue is that Coleridge doesn't tell Hardcastle this information because when Coleridge was Hardcastle, Coleridge didn't tell.
Ravencourt.
I'm sorry, right. Coleridge doesn't tell Ravencourt that Ravencourt is engaged because on the day that Coleridge was Ravencourt, Coleridge didn't tell him, right? Like there's this infinite knot that cannot be undone, and but like the shame of it all, and like it, just like how it made him sweat and all that, and then it's kind of tragic because he is the engaged person who feels bad about it and knows, at least Aiden does, right? Knows that this is sort of revenge on that he is the revenge on this girl, and then sees her kill herself. Is really sad.
Yeah.
And it all takes place at that like trippy ball, which is like kind of like that's kind of a weird scene.
Yeah.
Everybody's
it's very
like,
Mask of the Red Death.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Also that trippy scene in Romeo plus Juliet.
Yeah.
When they're at the ball.
Love it. So what's also really interesting to me about Ravencourt, what day 4, I guess it was, is it is the first day that Aiden decides to actually start using the rules, right? Mm-hmm. And he uses the rules and basically does magic. He says, well, if you won't help me, I'm going to tell everybody your secret. Look under your chair. And he says that because he knows that now and on a future day, he will go back and do that. And, or Anna will, or somebody, right?
Right.
And I really enjoy that. And that's going to be the thing, right? There are rules to this game. There's 3 of y'all. Everybody has like a different role. You live out the same day, but you are different people. And so therefore you can like twist and turn things and figure out how to, manipulate. What is your move,
Well, and so hopefully, since that's day 4, Ravencourt, and he's learned how to do that, and he gets to go back still today to Collins.
Yep.
Which, like, buys him time a little bit, even though it doesn't. He's kind of knocked out with that drug, but maybe he can, like, learn how to keep doing little tricks like that to amp up his knowledge.
Yeah.
And figure this out.
One of the last things we saw of the butler was that guy sticking the needle in his neck, the doctor.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's one of the Aidens.
Because he didn't seem to need it.
No, he didn't need it. Like, it was malicious.
Yeah.
definitely interpret it as being malicious. Talk about being malicious. Can we go back for a second? So the note that Evelyn had at the well.
Yeah, stay away from Derby.
Stay away from the Lady Derby. The valet interprets that as a warning.
Like a threat.
No, as a threat. And Aiden interprets it as a warning. Which do you think it is? I don't know. And, we're using this system. Somehow Evelyn knows about this note, right? Is that note for Evelyn? Because this happens right after Ravencourt does a similar thing, right? Or Aiden does a similar thing in Ravencourt.
Well, and she went to the note. She went there to pick it up. Because Sebastian was kind of jealous, thinking it was like from a lover or something.
Maybe one of our future Aidens is Evelyn. I mean, that's a Aiden move right there to leave a note for yourself. So do we think that Millicent Derby, maybe Millicent Derby's the murderer?
Maybe Aiden is the murderer.
Well, so that's the other thing. If Aiden is basically everybody,
and he kills Evelyn.
Well, that's kind of a theme that we have going on already, right? Is that no matter what you do, these things always come back around. And maybe Aiden somehow had something to do with the death of Thomas, and this is somehow this punishment for him.
What if Aiden is the person that got away?
Maybe. Maybe. But yeah, I mean, I could buy that. Why is he being punished, right? Or is he being just toyed with? Is this
why wouldn't he be punished if he was responsible for the death of that child?
Right, but is this like a trickster god thing, and you're just like an innocent person, or
right? I don't think he's innocent.
Yeah, I don't either. I mean, maybe all three of them somehow had something to do with it.
I do think so.
Yeah, it's certainly possible. Yeah, no matter what happens, I think Aiden is a murderer, right? I'm not sure who, but at this point, I think that is why he was chosen. And somehow all these things, come back around. I think our trickster god is going to turn out to be Thomas. I think that Evelyn is going to be... I think that all of this is somehow real in a weird way. And I think that Evelyn is going to be murdered because she abandoned Thomas. And the parents are suffering because...
Gosh, her parents are terrible.
Yeah, they're pretty bad.
They're horrible. Spiteful.
Yeah.
Cruel. And only got her back there because they threatened to cut off Michael's inheritance. Yeah. That's dirty. Tiny foot peacock. I liked Evelyn. So when Sebastian and Evelyn were walking together, I was reading that for a long time before I was like, "Aw, man, this book is about her death."
Yeah, she's a very likable character.
Yes, she envies Aiden because everyone else is stuck with their mistakes.
Yeah,
he seems to be pretty stuck with whatever got him here.
Yeah. One other reason I think that Evelyn could be an Aiden is that she definitely seems to know that she's going to die.
Because Ravencourt warned her and she didn't even flinch.
Yeah, okay, I know. So there's something going on there. But what's crazy about this book is it's full of mysteries. There's not one mystery.
Yeah.
Just like we have this knot of time, we have this weird knot of relationships and mystery going on. And everything is somehow connected a little bit. I have no idea how to guess what's really going to happen. I'm just enjoying playing along.
Yeah. So. And that is, this is such an enjoyable read so far. It really is.
I made a note about what Gregory Gold says when he beat the butler. He said, "You don't need." That's all he said.
Oh, I missed that.
Don't need.
What was the butler doing when...
Walking up the stairs.
To...
I don't know. I can't remember exactly now, but he had just been in the kitchen and they'd fed him because they're like, "You're having a spell," or whatever,
so
right?
This happened right after that spell?
Yeah. They fed him in the kitchen and he was just being Aiden, right? And he was rushing up the stairs, bumps into Gregory Gold, and he says, "You don't need," and then beat him.
Interesting.
Which makes me think that, like, again, that's why I think it's an Aiden. He's trying to tell the butler something. He's trying to tell a past self something to try to change the future. Because we know that is the butler before he is Gregory Gold. Because we have not had him be Gregory Gold, if that should happen.
Man, that means that we're going to spend a whole day strung up.
That's also true.
From the ceiling, from the rafters in the barn, or whatever that is.
Yeah. That does seem like a waste. Maybe not. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe not.
And there's only one other host, one other chance. Yeah. Only a third of the way through the book, but we're already out of opportunities to like figure it out.
You know, early on, I kind of expected for the whole thing to reset. I didn't think. We spent a lot of time in Ravencourt, and we really didn't spend a lot of time in some of the other ones.
Right.
And so, because there is so much book left, I thought that perhaps we would have a cycle reset. Where
so at some point in the book, we're going to start over and be Sebastian again.
Yeah, and I'm not sure that's going to happen anymore. But that would be interesting, because then what would happen is we, the reader, would know all this information, but ourselves as Aiden would wake up knowing nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And he would have to go through all this, and maybe this time Aiden would make slight changes, and so this iteration of the day is somehow different.
Mm-hmm. And
so we as the reader can start putting things together before Aiden could. And I think that'd be interesting, but I'm not sure it's going to happen.
Interesting. Yeah. Anything else?
Man, I mean, I don't know. It's a hot mess, right? I'm going to have to learn how to talk about stuff like this, because I'm not used to talking about books, right? I've only just now started doing this sort of thing, and the other one was so linear that it was easy. And this is an interesting challenge of a book to have to learn how to talk about, right? Because it all exists in my head and it exists in your head, and you're putting all the pieces together, but this knot has no clear start. And, you know, we could certainly just work our way through the days or whatever, but I'm not trying to recap for you everything that happened. Yeah. What I'm trying to give you is my thoughts on how they're tied together, and then you can go figure out what pieces those were.
I think, sorry, just a thing that popped in my head. I think Aiden's biggest challenge in this is going to be overcoming the personalities of the bodies that he's in. Yeah. Because there was even one point as Ravencourt where he was like, I could just flip this table right now and, like, change something, get someone's attention, whatever. But he wouldn't do it because of the shame that it would bring about, the embarrassment. How are you going to change the course if you can't overcome the host, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. I think he does try to change something, and I think that's why Coleridge tells him not to. Because himself as Coleridge has tried to change something, and I think that is Gregory Gold beating the butler. Mm-hmm. And so now he's lost this day. I don't think... Aiden knows nothing about any of his other iterations of this day, right? He knows nothing. But I think he understands that, like, maybe I shouldn't have done that. Mm-hmm. Because here we are now. Mm-hmm. Or whatever, so.
I'm ready to keep reading.
Yeah. It's good. I mean,
it's very good, yeah.
I've recommended it to a lot of people already.
Good.
So, and I'm not even done.
Yeah.
It's definitely an easy read. It's not terribly difficult.
But when you go back for a review of it, you really do pick apart a lot of pieces.
Yeah. In my notes for like the first 1 or 2 days, I have notes about all these crazy things I saw, right? Mm-hmm. Notes about the Bible, notes about the chest, and like all those things kind of come back around, but I'm not sure they're important. There's a lot of red herrings here, you know, and trying to sift through it all.
So much detail.
Yeah.
That was one. I'm glad you said that, because I wanted to mention that too. That you just can't know as you're reading through in the moment what's going to be significant and who's going to be significant.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be significant. And what's crazy is, like, let's say it's a clue, but that clue is torn up into 2 or 3 parts. And so the valet is going to give you a part, and the butler will give you a part, and then, you know, Miss Derby is going to give you a part, and those 3 things together. And then, so like one thing that I'm thinking about right now is, you know, the butler had ink on his fingers, and the door was smashed, and the pistols are gone. And he says, well, yes, I did have ink on my fingers, and yes, I was in there, but I was invited, and I didn't see pistols, and that page was still there.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And what if Ted, Stanwin, and Lucy the maid?
Ted Stanway.
He's the one, everyone seems terrified of him. He yelled at Lucy.
Oh,
he
yeah,
used
yeah.
to be one of the help and graduated when he tried to save
I wonder
Thomas.
if he won't be one of the hosts. So far, we have no female hosts for Aiden, which is interesting. I kind of suspect that will continue, and that perhaps we only have male hosts, and in which case I think Stanwin would be a good choice. But yeah, he's just a terrible person.
Mm-hmm.
Also, he is the only person who profited off of Thomas's death.
Mm-hmm.
So what's going on there? I don't know. I do feel bad for Lucy, and there was that.
But she's like proud of him.
Yeah, but there was like this touching scene where Aiden, as Ravencourt, tried to like help Lucy, and I just imagine this like, like Willy Wonka in the Chocolate Factory size dude trying to help. This girl who's crying.
You're thinking of Augustus Gloop.
Yeah, I don't know that guy.
Oh, or his dad.
Yeah.
Lots of people.
Yeah.
There's still other people on the guest list we haven't even like talked about.
I mean, so when they go to the ball, they're like, there's like 50 or 60 people in here, and you're like, oh god, okay.
And half of them are wearing plague doctor costumes.
Yeah, it's interesting. Which was like, if he is a supernatural being, why would there need to be this thing? Which leads me to think that this person is not supernatural, right? He can't just disappear, and that's just what he looks like. He's somebody who's in that house and is somehow playing a role.
Mm-hmm. And has been through all the days. Because he knows where everyone is all the time.
Which means that he, That's interesting. I'll have to think on that one a little more. So yeah, he is either Aiden in the future. He's the furthermost Aiden that we can get. Or he's some kind of god. That's all there is. Mm-hmm. Those are the options, yeah.
Would you have wasted a day trying to escape?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Look, if I wake up and you're just like this, I'm getting out of here.
I don't want to play.
Crazy. I don't know. If I had figured out by that point that this was indeed abnormal, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that was, day 3, so by then I would have figured it out. I'd probably play along, I guess. I don't like the idea of this malevolent entity trapping me like this, and so I don't like the idea of giving it what it wants. And Aiden supposedly has this idea that he can get him and Anna out.
Right.
Somehow, whatever that means, which means that he understands something more about the rules, right? Coleridge does, or whoever it is that talked to Anna to get her to that point, because it's still like 10 in the morning. When they have that conversation. That's another thing I've been paying attention to, is the time of all these things.
So yeah, and I guess that because she forgets each day when she wakes up, that does mean that they're all running around at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, like somebody walks up to her, like somebody's gonna shake her awake in the morning and be like, "Get up! There's some crazy stuff happening." By the way, I'm gonna walk through that door, but I'm gonna be a different dude in a second, and I'm gonna tell you whatever. Listen to me.
Anna's got the worst role in all of this, and she's being hunted by that footman.
Well, so Aiden thinks like, well, what if I'm crazy? Anna is having the craziest day, because everybody is walking into her room being like, hey, by the way, I'm that guy and I know some stuff and here's some things that are going to happen.
Yeah.
Wild. I can't imagine writing this.
Oh, I can't even comprehend it reading it. There's no way I can create it.
Yeah. How?
I wonder what his other books are like. This Stuart Turton.
He has a couple other ones. They're all narrated by the same guy.
Oh wow!
And so I think that's kind of cool.
There's an excerpt in the Kindle ebook of another.
I am definitely interested in putting another one on the list. Yeah, just whatever it is, I'll read it.
Yeah.
Give it a shot. Let us know if you would be interested in reading another book by this author at some point in the future. Yeah. It definitely wouldn't be next, but at some point. Cool. You having fun?
Yeah. This is a fun read.
I am a huge sucker for time.
Man, he is.
I love it. If you want good shows to watch, go watch Dark, go watch Predestination.
I've got thoughts on Dark.
I'll probably watch it 5 times.
I was so glad when it ended.
The guys that made Dark are making a new show on Netflix. It comes out like next week, maybe. It's called 1899. We can check that out together.
I'll
That might be
watch
fun. Yeah. But I love time shenanigans. So this is definitely for me.
It is interesting.
That's all I got.
All right. Well, we will see you next Sunday for chapters 24 through 43 of The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle by Stuart Turton.
See you then.
Bye.